Well, hello, and welcome to the show. Happy Thursday to you, and thanks so much for joining us today. As you know, today is such a treat to be here back with you. Last week we were dark, but we came back, and you are here with In the Loop with Greg and myself, and we have some big news to share with you. Now, I'm going to keep you on top of all things business finance, and of course, my good friend Greg Nibbler here is going to tell us all about the technology and, of course, things that are trending. And I think there was some big announcement earlier today as well. So, welcome to In the Loop with Winnie and Greg. I'm Winnie Sun, longtime financial pro, CNBC council member, Forbes contributor, and host of Level Up, which can also be found on NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, just to name a few. And of course, we're here today live. So happy Thursday, Greg, and how are you today?
I am all right. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining. It is always, nice to be back here. I'm going to say behind the scenes, since I am the tech reporter on the show, I'm of course having tech issues. I talk about robots a lot, so if my voice sounds robotic, that's definitely intentional, not a problem with my microphone. But nonetheless, we are here, and seriously, it is always great to be back here doing this show. And we do have a lot to talk about. Some big announcements from Google that are coming up. We're going to talk about robots in addition to sounding like one. So all that's going to be part of the show today. But yeah, it's really great to be here and great to see all the comments coming in too. Hello, everybody. And I know, Winnie, you always keep us up to date with what's going on in the world of finances. So I always like to find out about that here to start the show off.
Well, let's do, Greg. I mean, I feel like, Greg, you're always on brand. You're always on brand. And I know today's a very special topic, and you're already on brand for that. So thank you so much, Greg, for that. Want to say a huge, of course, welcome to Vicky Garvey joining us on Facebook Live. I see Sadiq joining us on YouTube Live. And of course, Joshua, we appreciate you so much, Joshua, joining us. CrossX Fighter joining us on YouTube Live. What a treat to be here with all of you. Maybe you missed us. I've been away for over a week, and it's so great to be back with all of you. But as many of you know, it is such a treat to be here with Greg. You know him as he is the guru of all things technology. And of course, I'm really looking forward to seeing what he has to say. But let's start with finance, talk about the serious stuff, and then we'll get to the fun, right? All right, so here's how the market closed. The Dow closed down 346 points today. NASDAQ down 75. S&P also down 38. Now, unfortunately, 2 negative days in a row. You probably saw there were some good days between now and last week, but certainly the last couple of days have been pretty rocky. And actually, right before we started live today, there was a little bit of delay, and that was because I wanted to share with you that the judge came out and talked about what's going on with Elon Musk and, of course, the Twitter deal, right? So you all know of Elon Musk as SpaceX, as Tesla, but now you soon might be knowing Elon Musk now as part of Twitter, as he is now looking like this $54 billion big deal actually who knows, might go through. Now, there was, of course, a filing on the side of Twitter and on Delaware's Court of Chancery. And basically, Elon was saying that Twitter should drop their scheduled sort of court date that's supposed to be on October 17th. And this was because of the acquisition deal, because originally Elon said, I want to buy Twitter. And then later on, he said, no, I don't want to buy Twitter for whatever reason. Now he's saying, yeah, the deal's back on. And in fact, he's saying now that he wants the deal to go back on the original price that he offered of $54 billion. So the question is, will he or will he not? And of course, we don't know, right? We don't know what's going on. We don't know how he feels. We don't know how either of them feel. But we do know this, right? Before we went live here, the judge declared that, okay, here's the deal. I'm not going to get rid of this pending trial. However, if the deal goes through before October 28th, we will then not go on with, I guess, this trial. But if the deal doesn't happen by October 28th is going to be the deadline of then they can, I guess, pursue legal action. And this is on behalf of Twitter. So who knows? That I thought was interesting, Greg. I mean, did you hear this? I'm sure you saw this. And I know you've got some fun stuff in sort of this realm to share with us. But I feel like we need to talk about this. I mean, this is financial news, tech news, all bundled in one, and a dose of Kardashian mixed into this.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's been such a whirlwind, with Elon Musk and everything that's been going on. I think April was when he originally made that bid, the $44 billion bid. But there's so many questions. This is, I guess, answering some of it, that it does seem like this is probably going to go through, and at least a judge is stepping in on that side. Twitter said they wanted to go through for that original price, but you have all of that factor. And then also he's been tweeting out he always tweets out some strange things, but even about Twitter, where he made mention that he said him purchasing Twitter is one step towards this mystery application called X that he believes would be the app for everything. So I don't know if he has some master plan on that, whether this is going to roll into something else that he's got in the works or what he's going to do. But, as soon as he takes over, he could make a lot of changes right away. So it's just, there's so much up in the air, and it's such a lack of clarity, I feel like, on what's going to happen, that it's really difficult to follow along with it and really understand all these things that are going on. We're all just kind of along for the Elon Musk ride, to see whatever he decides to say on whatever day. But it does seem like he's probably going to be forced to buy it at least.
And that's what's interesting is before this late arrival of this news coming out from the judge, in fact, earlier today they were talking about, well, there could be another potential out. And this is, many of us have purchased home. If you've purchased a home, maybe the house that you live in, like when you purchase something like that, which is a larger investment, right? There's a term in the contract that says, well, in all good faith, you're going to make a bid on this house and you're going to buy it. But if your financing falls through, there's actually an exit, right? So earlier today, all over financial news, they were saying, well, this could take place, but given that, his offer was made where the market was at a higher level than it is today, the financiers or the banks on the back end helping to finance Elon on this deal might have issue with this deal. And if that's the case, would he be able to, again, not do the deal, pull out the deal? It's really hard to say, but that's sort of the news that we're reading today, and we're seeing some of talk about that. And they're also saying that Elon has already made some changes and liquidation from his other companies, and that there's probably not much more he can do in that area. So really, it's really dependent on the banks now whether or not this deal will go through. So I think it's just interesting to watch. It's more from our standpoint, from a user standpoint. I'm hoping this is going to be for the better, and I just don't know. In fact, yesterday, if you joined me on Twitter, we had a big tweet chat yesterday on the topic of, we shared, Elon, if you buy over Twitter, these are some of the things that I would like to see. And we had people joining us from all over the globe with their insight of what they like and what they don't like. Obviously, the edit button was a hot topic. People appreciated that, but they were looking for even more. And one of the things that people are really looking for is, of course, more accessibility to people to be able to access information. Subtitles was mentioned quite a bit. And a lot of people were also mentioning how they hope that there's control of the bots and some of the negative tweets and shares on social media, and that can be taken care of. And of course, making sure that factual information is shared readily instead of fake news, because information is shared so quickly on Twitter, right? So I think all of you have seen that already. But let's move on to the next topic. And I thought this is something that you may have seen as well, but this is the topic of Peloton. Now, Peloton has once again announced that they're going to be laying off more employees. Now they're going to be laying off another 500 employees in this fourth round of cuts. This is the fourth time they've made employee cuts in 2022. So this is quite a bit. So now this is going to be about 12% of their workforce. As you know, Peloton making those really fancy exercise bikes and treadmills and whatnot, that let you sort of stream in like virtual exercise. Well, they seem to really be struggling. We knew that they were starting to sell on Amazon either as well. But you might say, well, that's terrible for the employees. It certainly is. But how does it affect our economy? And I thought I would segue over to this, because it's always good to sort of get both sides of the spectrum or the opinion, and to get a good sense of like how you should manage your finances and your budget and make those smart financial and career decisions for yourself. Well, tomorrow is going to be a big job report coming out from the US government. Now, typically, we're looking for a very strong job report. We're looking for rising wages. We're looking for more people getting hired, less people losing their jobs. We're just looking for robust career job data. But tomorrow, believe it or not, a lot of economists are hoping for weaker data. Now, why would they want weaker data or not such good data, you might say? Well, this was an article shared out on CNBC by my friend Jeff Cox, and I thought it was really a smartly written article and one to think about. Now, they're saying that here's the thing: if the job report comes out tomorrow and it's really positive, a lot of people, getting back to work, a lot of people getting hired, and wages going up, that actually could be a bad thing, because that could mean that the Fed will continue to be very aggressive in increasing interest rates, to build mitigate the costs of inflation in hiring and job growth and whatnot. So they're actually looking for that sort of kind of hot, kind of cool, kind of in the middle, so that Goldilocks effect that they're calling it, so that Goldilocks monetary policy. So they're hoping that the number isn't tremendous tomorrow, that the job growth number is just okay, or maybe even a little weak. And that way, hopefully, the Fed can take the foot off the gas pedal a little bit in terms of not increasing interest rates as quickly as we're seeing today. Because if that happens, right, we're just getting closer and closer to getting in a full-blown recession, and that's something that a lot of us want to avoid. Of course, we want the economy to slow down. We like growth, but we want sort of more muted growth, right? We're liking that sort of 2% growth in inflation is sort of a healthier number. 2 to 3% is an ideal area where we like to be, and we're like nowhere close to that, unfortunately. In fact, I'm going to segue over to another study, and I want to make sure that this is on your radar too. Now, this was a report that came out of Market Watch today. Okay, another great publication. And there was a study that came out, and this is actually a big study. Now, this Microsoft researchers recently warned, of course, that there's something called productivity paranoia among managers, really concerned about hybrid work. They really want people either in the office, they can track, or something very close to that. So it's just something that managers tend to feel more comfortable with. But this new report that came from KPMG, as you know, which is an international audit tax financial firm, they actually surveyed many CEOs here in the United States, and it showed that 91% believe that a recession will arrive in the coming 12 months. And in fact, 86% of these CEOs globally feel the same way. So whether it be domestically or globally, everybody thinks that a recession is going to be arriving in the next 12 months, which is very concerning. Now, why this is even more concerning is because half of those US-based CEOs, 51%, said they're also considering layoffs or workforce reductions in the next 6 months, which goes right into the holiday season, which is typically, now we're in October, right? Between October and December 31st, this is what we know in the financial industry to be layoff seasons. Now, a lot of people are focused on the holidays, about gifting, about Halloween, all those fun things. But in the financial industry, we know this is being a very, very busy time for us, because many times employees will be getting laid off, or, moved out, just moved out of their position into lower paying jobs or duties or whatnot. And just, it just, a lot of people get laid off during this time. So we end up having to do a lot of planning for those employees during this time. Now, being that 51% of CEOs feel this way is a little disturbing. So this could be what the economy needs to get inflation down lower. But the question is, at what cost? At what cost, and to which families? So many families are already struggling, especially for those, and they're saying a lot of employees who are at the lower level of scale, who are maybe more, the ones that companies would cut first, they would really suffer. Now, one caveat they shared in this article was this too. They're saying that there was also a study that showed that 60% of managers surveyed said that it's either likely or extremely likely that the people who would get laid off first would be remote employees, those who work remotely, not those who work in office or those who are hybrid, but more so those who are remotely. So the same article on Market Watch said that this, you could kind of say, well, maybe it's a good idea to pop into the office now and then, just so that you can be seen, and so people know what you're doing, and make sure to still be active in keeping that interpersonal, I shouldn't say interpersonal, inter in-person professional relationship. I think you should still, have that FaceTime if you can, make sure that you have good communication and make sure you're communicating with your manager and your company on exactly what you're doing. So they're saying that 2/3 of the CEOs survey said ideally they would like to see in-office work. This would be in the future, and global findings are showing very similar things. This is from CEOs in Australia and Canada and China, Japan, many of the European countries as well. It's sort of been very consistent. People are looking for you to go back into the office. Now, whether you want to or you're comfortable, that's a whole nother situation. But this is what the survey is showing. This is some of the information. So I definitely want to share that with you because I thought it was interesting, especially as you're planning your end of the year. These are things that you want to pay attention to. And of course, Greg, I mean, that's like kind of heavy stuff. So I had to, of course, bring one more fun topic. And now I was thinking about all of you, and I think Joshua, you're going to enjoy this one. I think Sadiq's and definitely, I think definitely Ricky, you're going to appreciate this. So here's a fun one. Now, McDonald's is bringing back their Halloween boo buckets. Now, you're like, what? Where did this come from? I know,
I'm unfamiliar with the boo bucket.
I am unfamiliar with the boo buckets as well. I will be honest, I don't go to McDonald's very often. I just don't. I think their food is very, very tasty, but I feel like I don't know what's in there. And I've seen the YouTube videos where the chicken nugget never changes for like years and years. And so ever since that, I don't go to McDonald's as much. But maybe this is a reason why some people will. Because they have these really cute boo buckets. They're just in time for Halloween. I guess they come with a Happy Meal. And I guess they have really cute names. So they're called Pumpkin Orange, Slime Green, and Ghostly White. And I guess they're coming out on October 18th, which is next week. And so you can get this with your Happy Meal for kids or maybe your inner kid. It doesn't come with a toy though, because I guess this bucket is your official toy. But one thing I thought was really interesting, Greg, that I didn't hear about, but I guess now, I mean, these buckets have been around since 1986, these boo buckets, but I guess they have this new like Happy Meal for adults. Have you heard of this?
I saw a post about this, but I'm going to be honest, I'm not completely familiar with it, but I'm assuming it's toys for adults. Is that something along those lines?
Yeah, I guess, I'm guessing, right? Because I'm guessing the Happy Meal is going to be a little bit larger in portion size, right?
Yeah.
But I did read that the giveaway that goes with the adult Happy Meal is like sort of more of a collectible item. So, but the interesting about the boo buckets, I will say that what I've been reading online is that they tend to be really small buckets. So I guess if you're going to be using this for trick or treat for Halloween, it's ideal if you don't plan to collect a lot of candy, kids, or maybe you would have to have 3 boo buckets because you're not going to get, maybe the old pillowcase is going to serve you better than this very cute boo bucket. I don't know. Yeah, but that's what I got today, Greg. I mean, I will say this. I did come back. So those of you who knew, and Greg, I was away last week, took a real short vacation with a family. I have some amazing footage and content to share with you. I'm planning to share that with you next week. So I think you're going to want to hear this. And actually, it's really interesting because some of like my publicists, a couple of my friends asked me, so where were you? I told them, they're like, I've been really so curious about what that place looks like and what's really neat about it. And I'm going to share all that with you next week.
Nice. That is a great tease for next week because now I want to see him too. All right. Well, I do have some tech news. And again, for anybody joining in too, I'm having some mic issues, so that's not on your end. That's on my end. But we still have some cool things to talk about if we want to go to some of those. So today was yet another tech hardware event day. So we've had a bunch of these, right? We've had Apple with the new iPhone. We had Samsung with their stuff. We had Amazon last week. Everybody's bringing out their new hardware, which is a really fun time for tech. And today was Google's turn. So Google had their Made by Google event, their Google Pixel event. And it's not too surprising what came out because they already kind of gave us a sneak peek of it earlier this year. But we got the new Pixel phones. So the Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro. So the newest in their line of phones. And, Pixels are still just a really small percentage of the market, but they're still growing. They're growing pretty well. They're slowly getting in there. And people who do have Pixels seem to be really happy with them for a few different reasons. And that's kind of what they highlighted today. It comes down to the cameras, which it does with every phone, but in particular, their processing software. So the way that they process photos, the way that the things they're able to do with it, to make the photos just look better. As you can see there, erasing people or erasing things from it, having the software do that, or de-blurring things, which is a big issue if you're taking a lot of action photography, having the ability to just completely de-blur it. So really cool things on that end. Is it enough that it's going to convince somebody to go get a Google Pixel phone over, say, a Samsung or an iPhone? I don't know. I think that remains to be seen, but I love the fact that they're still pushing the boundaries on it. And another good thing about them, so again, you have Pixel 7, Pixel 7 Pro. Another way that they have it, standing out is the price. So normally, I mean, let's be honest, you're going to get the brand new phone of whatever the major line is. Just we'll do Samsung and iPhone for an example. It's probably not going to start for less than $1,000, most likely. Maybe there's sometimes a little bit less, but usually $1,000 is kind of like the standard now. And Pixels are less. So as you can see here, so the Pixel 7 starting off at $599. Still, a spendy phone, but definitely a lot less, especially if you can wrap it into a plan. And the Pixel 7 Pro is at $899. So that is that was pretty, a pretty big difference right there. So the pricing wise, that's good. But Winnie, I know, we're on the opposite ends of the phone spectrum right now with you with your iPhone. I've got my Samsung Galaxy S22 Plus. So I've got a little bit of a beefed up version. I'm pretty happy with this. But how are you feeling with your iPhone?
I am so happy with this. In fact, my creative director Curtis and we just found out we both got it, and I love this new phone. I'm gonna tell you, Vicky, you'll appreciate. I feel like it looks like jewelry for one thing. I think it's so pretty. I got the silver. I know a lot of people got the purple, which I think is really cute. I'm not a big fan of purple, but I love this phone. I will say, I came from a 10. So, oh no, wait, 10 or maybe the 11. But anyway, the 11. So I won't say the speed wise, I don't feel like it's that much faster, but there's so many little things about it that I love. It's so smooth. It feels very streamlined. And then, I'm very impressed by the camera. So that's where I am so far. I'll let you know in a few more weeks, but I still think you should have got one, Greg.
I had the internal debate. I almost went with the Pixel 6 too, but then it was like, well, the new one's going to be coming out. It's not out yet. I need a phone now. So Pixel was kind of eliminated from that. Mm-hmm. I debated on it for a while, but the S22 Plus is the one that I had to go with because I'm not ready to leave the ecosystem, the Android ecosystem yet, but I admit your phone does look pretty nice. So
I feel like, Greg, we got to move you to a Mac first, and then we'll just move you all in.
With today's tech issues that I'm having, the Mac is definitely on my list right now.
What do you think, Vicky? Vicky, I feel like we're going to get in there.
I think, I'm slowly getting pushed that way. Slowly getting pushed. This may be the push to push me over the edge here. We'll see. But the Pixels do look good. I do like the Pixel phones. And the people that I know that have had them are really, really happy with them.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's enough yet to really pull too many people away, but it could get there.
They're cheaper, so I think it's
they're definitely cheaper.
Quality, nice camera for a more. I wouldn't even say it's like cheap. I just think more reasonable cost because I do think these phones are sort of really reaching that unreasonable price point.
Yeah. I mean, and you just can't see them bringing those prices down anymore too with Apple and Samsung. So we'll see where that goes. So you have the new phones. And then the other thing that they debuted is this is actually the first one that Google's ever made just explicitly for themselves is a Pixel Watch. So they're following the Apple Watch train, bringing out the Pixel Watch. And a big part of this is incorporating all of that tech that they bought from Fitbit. So we knew this was on its way. It was just kind of waiting until it happened. And they have all the things, that Fitbit can do really well. Put it in there. If you don't remember, Google purchased Fitbit for, I think it's like 2.1 billion, 2.2, something like that, a couple of years ago. So we've been waiting to see them kind of incorporate this into their own products, not just a Fitbit. So that's the Pixel Watch right there. It also has, all the things that Google can bring to the table with that integrated Google ecosystem or Android ecosystem. You've got Google Pay, all the bells and whistles that you can get, and then the look. The look, I think, is really the thing that could persuade people, whether you stick with an Apple Watch or the Galaxy Watch or the Pixel. I actually kind of like the look of these. I like that it's, kind of a simple round design. I worry that I would, just like any kind of watch with that much of, territory that could be dinged or hit on a door or something like
Mhm.
that. That worries me. That I could crack that thing pretty easy, but that's also me. So I don't know. What do you think about the look of this?
I'm with you, Greg. I think it looks nice, but I'm
Yeah,
with you. It looks like very scratchability. I mean,
yeah,
I guess I've been having, I've had an Apple Watch for some time. I've kind of gotten used to sort of the square look, but yeah, I love the
for
round. It's
sure.
very cool. I think it looks nice and flat. And also I'm a big fan of the Fitbit too, because I do think there's something to be said. It just works. The Fitbits have worked really well. Their battery life is forever, and I
Yeah,
mean Google tends to not mess things up too often. But I'm
yeah,
with you. I just feel like I wouldn't put that on one of my kids. I just think it would just be like like scratch central. But I
right.
see, Robin Stevens is joining us. A big hello to Robin joining us
Hi,
from
Robin.
LinkedIn Live. And for those of you who are joining us from LinkedIn Live, we are live with you. So we're seeing your comments. Feel free. Don't be shy. Let us know where you're joining from and all that good stuff. And yeah, so Greg, I don't know. I mean, this is like, look at the price point. This seems so much more reasonable. Am I looking at
Well,
this wrong?
no, that's the band price. So the
Oh,
price for
yeah.
the watch itself is $350. So yeah, if it was $60, I'd be like, this is a really good deal
I
right
know.
now.
I'm like, this is like what?
Yeah, it starts at $350, and then there's various things that you can do from there, depending on whether you get the LTE service or what kind of service you add on top of that, or what abilities you want on it. But yeah, 350. So it's not a really low entry level. Like the Pixel at least is a little bit lower. I feel like
Yeah.
comparatively, this is coming right in at a premium price.
Yeah, and I
So
don't think I would pay that much, Greg, for this.
yeah, yeah, and I don't think
I
I'm going
mean,
to either.
yeah, I feel like at that price, I probably would just hold off and wait to get a good deal on the Apple Watch Ultra, because
Yeah,
I think that around the holidays, I think those are going to drop in price. I've already been seeing some talk. I've already seen that being discounted,
yeah,
and I like the Ultra. I think the Ultra looks really cool, but I wouldn't pay that much money for it yet. But I see
yeah.
Tedra joining us from LinkedIn Live. It's so great to have you with us. Hello, hello, and hope
Hello.
that you are okay and well, because I see you're
Oh,
from
from
Pensacola.
Pensacola.
Yeah, our thoughts are with you. And yeah, and then Sadiqa says, what about Amazon renewed? Amazon renewed. Renewed what? The renewed watch?
That must honestly, Sadiq. Sometimes you know more than I do on some of this stuff. So Amazon renewed. Oh, that's the pre-owned and refurbished
Oh
side of
yes.
Amazon.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
I've
maybe,
gotten renewed
yeah, maybe you could
before.
probably find a good price on there.
Yeah,
Um,
I've gotten an Apple Watch renewed from Amazon before, and it turned out really well. Yeah, so
yeah, yeah. I don't think this is, yeah, like you said, it's going to be enough to switch people over, especially that price point. But we'll see where they go. Maybe once they get this first one out, they can start dropping it down. But
yeah,
those
I feel
were,
like they could have got. I think like I could have taken the opportunity to get this thing under 300. I feel like if it
yeah,
was like maybe 200, then maybe get
yeah.
people adoption on it, and then
I mean, I think they're trying to just advertise that they have all the premium Fitbit stuff on there as
mm,
well, but that's still kind of
to
a high
have
price
crash
point.
detection.
Yeah,
These are
yeah,
things we need.
right. Yeah, so we'll see how popular that is and what people are gonna if people are gonna buy it. So those were kind of the main things. The other thing they did tease though is also a Pixel tablet. So this one is something's been rumored for a while, so we knew they were working on this, and they're going to be taking on kind of the iPad or any kind of tablet, but they wanted to combine it in with a couple of their other products. So this is something that they did to showcase how you can use it for a few different ways. And so it's almost like an Amazon Show or Amazon Echo Show or the Nest tablet. So you can use it for actually your smart home hub, and it clips on. The charger is actually a speaker. So it can be kind of a centerpiece, and then you, of course, can pop it off and use it as a normal tablet. So they've got some multifunctionality in there that, at least as far as what they're teasing, this won't be coming out till next year. That they're showing that you can use it for a lot of different things. So giving it kind of that utilitarian use case for it as people start using more smart home devices. So I think that's actually a pretty smart idea. And if someone does have a smart home system, and especially with the upcoming changes to that, where it's going to be able to use all kinds of different devices with the Matter change that's going to be happening, so all your smart home devices are going to be able to talk to each other. This could be an attractive thing next year, but just keep your eyes on that. That's next year, but that's something that's going to be coming out from them too. All right, I've got a couple other things here. I know we talked a lot about Twitter already, so we don't need to go into it too much, but there is something that's coming out because, Winnie, earlier you brought up the fact of, fact checking and misinformation and what's going to happen if Elon takes over or when Elon takes over. But one thing that Twitter has rolled out now, and something that you're going to be seeing here in the U.S. and I believe other places globally too, is called Birdwatch. Nice play on Twitter there. And what it is, it's crowd-funded fact-checking, essentially. So you're going to start seeing this on tweets that'll pop up where people, like select people, will be able to comment and vote up or down based on whether something is believed to be factual or not. So this is going to be showing up underneath tweets, and it seems to be a way that they're working on, combating misinformation. Yeah, there's kind of their little video explaining it right there, and yeah, whether or not it's trustworthy, whether people are telling the truth on there, whether there's links to actually more factual stories, rather than flagging things. So that's something that's going to be coming out. I don't know if this is the best way to do it or not. I don't know what is the right way. But this is something you are going to be seeing. So yeah, notes are rated by other contributors, so that way it goes up or down. Decisions aren't made by majority rules or popularity. So that way they're saying things can't be swayed one way or another. It's going to be ultimately all kinds of different viewpoints voting on whether something is factual or not. So that's what you'll be seeing rolling out here pretty soon. Again, I don't know if that's the best way. We also don't know if that's going to last. By the time Elon takes it over, maybe that's out the window. All these things could be changed soon regardless. But especially going into this election season where this is going to be a very, very big issue of what's happening on Twitter as far as factual information. We all know there's a lot of misinformation out there. I mean, that's a fact. And maybe this is a way to combat some of that. So we'll have to see. But there you go. You're going to be seeing that on your Twitter feed soon.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I did see something trending recently. I guess the World Health Organization, this was about a year and a half ago, earlier in the pandemic, they had actually tweeted something that said that, COVID is not airborne. And of course, we know that now not to be the case. And I saw people were talking about, this was trending on Twitter, that I guess they sent a notification to several people who were following or engaging with that particular tweet from the World Health Organization, informing them that in fact that tweet was false. So I think Twitter is now trying to maybe really spend more an effort helping us decipher whether or not the news or information that we're seeing is truthful or not. And being that, I think you and I would agree. I mean, news really. The news outlet of today is Twitter, because whether you like to agree or disagree, or you like or you don't like Twitter, the truth is, if you want to find out something quickly, it's going to happen on Twitter, right? Like if there's a wildfire here in 100%. California or Portland, right? That's where you go. So yeah, I don't know how they would be able to solve that, Greg, but it's nice that they're trying to solve it.
They're trying to solve it, yeah. So we'll again. Once they roll this out, I guess we'll find out, whether it actually works or not. But yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. That's where I go. Anytime there's something breaking news, you go to Twitter, and it's just the quickest way to find out what's going on. Sometimes that can also mean you find out something that's false information, because maybe people are tweeting out things just before they even know everything. So you kind of have to sift through that. But yeah, it's a really good place for all kinds of news, particularly I'll say for tech. I go there all the time for news on that, and that's where I share news as well. So, a lot of changes coming there.
Still waiting for that edit button, though. Remember they promised it, and they said it was supposed to be rolling out today too. And I had Twitter Blue. I haven't seen it yet. Have you seen it, Greg? I don't know.
I have not seen it. So, who knows if that's actually going to happen, or who knows? Also, I'm saying a lot of who knows, but I mean, really, there's so much up in the air with Twitter. I mean, all of these things could end up being put on hold because of this deal with Elon. So, maybe they stop rolling things out or put a pause on some things. But that's one that you're supposed to be seeing anyway, as far as Birdwatch. So there's some Twitter news, but I do have something. I mean, we can't get away from the Elon Musk talk, so I have to talk about the Tesla bot that came out last week, and this is the Tesla Optimus robot. And this is the robot that he's been teasing. He's been talking about it, saying they were working on it. They showed earlier this year, I don't know if anybody remembers, they had these weird dancers that came out in robot costumes, just bizarre. But he did showcase it during Tesla's AI Day, and a couple of different versions. There's the original version right there, and then they have kind of a version where it covers up all of the wires and everything else for it, and that's the Optimus bot. So There's a showcase. Yeah, that's kind of the Optimus spot right back there. So this is what he is saying is going to be a revolution in robotics and a revolution in society. He said this thing could end up eradicating poverty, where we would have robots that can do a lot of the important work that needs to be done so that people don't have to do it anymore. And he's claiming these things are going to start rolling out next year. They're largely going to be used for, say, commercial and industrial purposes. So this isn't necessarily going to be your household robot, but it might be your coworker robot if you work at a warehouse. And that they've got it trained really well with the AI that Tesla has, meaning it's utilizing a lot of the same software that autonomous driving software that you have for your Tesla. It's utilizing that same premise and hardware and software. So meaning it's pretty well, pretty good at avoiding, running into people or crushing them with its robot hands. So it shouldn't be able to do that. But yeah, that's navigating around, office spaces or warehouses or things along those lines. But he says, is going to be coming out next year. I really doubt that myself.
Give us a Cybertruck first, right?
Exactly.
Cybertruck?
Where's the Cybertruck?
He's gonna say, just give me like $2,000 deposit. You'll have it next year. This is like the Tesla, infomercial right now going on.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks cool, but come on.
And the demonstration that they had with the highest end concept one or the highest end robot didn't even walk on the stage. So that one,
it should have had 4 legs, right? They said it would have been more stable if it had 4 legs, but they made it with 2 legs. And then I read something of that, like he says that it's going to cost less than a car or less than his Model 3 or whatever. I'm like,
$20,000 is what they're targeting.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. I highly doubt that'll end up being the case either. It's interesting that they're working on it. I think utilizing all of that autonomous software that they've acquired or developed
which doesn't even work that well yet.
Doesn't even work that well. Yeah.
Sadiq, iRobot 2 2023. Sadiq is saying, and I see Vicky saying, I seen this and share AI Day 2020. Yeah, I just feel like this is one of those empty promises, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel it does kind of seem that way, where he talked it up so much he had to back it up by showing something.
Mm-hmm.
But
in a year?
Yeah, no, I don't. It can't even walk. He said it's going to be walking within a couple of weeks. How are you going to be distributing these things out?
Is it growing?
Yeah, right? Yeah. Got a tub that they're growing these things in. Let's see, Tedra saying, yeah, I hope it can clean my house for that much. Yeah, see, that's exactly. Now, if you have a robot that'll clean the house, do my laundry,
do dishes, dig holes,
right.
Carry stuff.
Clean my roof, I'm all for those things. Those would be good. That may be worth $20,000. But if it's just going to be carrying a box around to the next room, it's not going to do a whole lot.
You don't need someone to carry a box. I don't know. My washer just broke, so we had someone bring in a new washer today. That would have been really helpful to have a robot bring in a washer, to sit next to the dryer. But like this robot would. You know what? I hope that they create. And Tedra, let me know what you think about this. I would love a handyman robot that could go around pumping issue, they can fix your pumping issue. They got like electrical issue. Yeah, new roof. I'll get the parts. I'm gonna start you. Like we could have that would be great. Like a handy robot.
Go fix my fence, robot. Something like that. Yeah, I'm into that. I would definitely. That may be worth $20,000, but
totally. We would share one, right?
Yeah. We'll see. How much of this actually comes to fruition, but that's what he said. So that's his claim. Talking about that Optimus robot. So I do have one last thing here before I know we'll need to wrap up here today, but I have something else that I thought was pretty cool. This actually rolled out last Friday, so some of you may have seen it, but it has to do with toys from Hasbro and tech, meaning this: you can now turn yourself into an action figure. Yes. So it utilizes 3D printing and scanning and your smartphones. This is called the Pulse series. And what happens is you download this app, and if you want to do it, you end up using your smartphone, and most smartphones, they said, are able to do this. And you scan you take a series of different pictures.
All over this.
Right? You take a series of different pictures of yourself, and then send those in to the company. They use those to create a 3D rendering of your face. And then you have some options you can do for your hair or a few different things that you can kind of touch up. And then they take that 3D model and 3D print an action figure head of yours and put it on your choice of several different ones there. So yeah, you can see there's like G.I. Joe and Ghostbusters, and Power Rangers, a few different ones that you can choose from, and then print it out and get your own action figure. Star Wars. That's pretty cool. And it's $80. $80. So really not, I mean, it's not cheap, but that's not that bad.
It's not that bad. I mean, especially like I feel like that's something like if you have a friend or someone who's a big Marvel fan and you want to make an impression, this is a great impression. This is a personalized impression.
Yeah, I think I would probably go with the G.I. Joe. That's probably what I would go with to start with, although I'd be tempted for some of the other ones too. But this is what's out there. So anybody that's thinking about this or maybe looking for a present for later on down the road, pretty cool use case. And the technology behind it is really cool, just to be able to print it up and have that, ready to go. Because there's so many things you can do with this if they can start mass producing these things.
That is so cool.
Pretty fun.
Yeah, I did a podcast once and the host sent me a Lego figurine of myself and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. But this is sort of like next level because who's actually look like you?
Yeah, right? I've got it right here.
You got personalized Lego? I
have a 3D printed bobblehead of myself that my brother got me. So this is an example of that kind of technology, but still pretty fun.
That's cool.
3D printed Greg.
Like you.
Yeah, it was pretty. They did a pretty good job on it.
They did.
Yeah, but so I'm definitely going to need to get one of these though. I need to add to the collection of 3D printed me's to go on my desk.
I wonder how many Gregs you have there, Greg.
Yeah. I've got, there's this one there. Actually, I think I've got another one of something like this somewhere. I swear they were gifts. I'm not just buying them for myself. But
so basically, I mean, let me ask you this, Greg. I mean, can they use any photo? Does it have to be done a certain way? Because like, let's say you wanted to surprise somebody. Like, let's say I wanted to surprise a good friend and I didn't, I mean, obviously that would be maybe harder to do, huh?
Yeah, I think for this one, because you have to take a series, I believe it's like 5 photos of different angles. So unless you tricked your friend into taking 5 photos of them and getting some scans, or maybe tell them it's for something else, then he might be able to work. But yeah, surprising them with it might be kind of hard. Might be kind of hard to just have it show up in the mail.
That's your challenge, Marvel.
That's the challenge,
or posts, I should say.
Because just be like, oh, wow, this is a really good angle of you. Let me just take a photo.
Hold on. But maybe I don't know, Curtis. Maybe the phone, this fancy phone can do that. What do you think, Greg?
I think that phone could probably do that. I think that phone would work. But that's cool. Yeah. I think it's pretty. It's pretty cool what they're doing there. So you can download that app, and then you're able to go through that and get those purchased. So that's what I have for this week. That's the tech that I found that I thought was pretty cool that I wanted to bring up here today.
That is really cool. I think that's perfect timing as we go into Halloween and the holidays and whatnot. And I feel like, Greg, we haven't done a streaming episode, so we got to do that. I think we're going to have to come back and tell you what we're watching and things that might be on your radar, right? Going to holidays. And I'm thinking, Greg, because, spooky season with Halloween, I feel like you're going to bring us some really cool stuff to watch.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's a few that I could recommend. So yeah, I think we definitely need to do that here pretty soon. Do a streaming episode. And as always, really appreciate everybody tuning into this show too, and just being a part of it and commenting and writing. I apologize for my tech issues today, so I will get that squared away and figured out. Naturally, I'd be having that happen. But yeah, it's so much fun doing this show. I know we took last week off, and there's a couple of weeks there that we missed, but we'll be back next week, I believe.
We are back.
Yeah, we're back. And lots of cool stuff. I almost knocked over my bobblehead there. Put myself out of danger's way. And yeah, appreciate all of you joining the show. It's always so much fun.
Yes, absolutely. And stay safe. Everyone, will see you again next week. Follow us really close on Twitter. Send us direct messages, of course. If you have anything that you want Greg to look at, myself to look at, send it to us. We'd love to hear from you. And with that, it's a wrap. We'll see you next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye.